of or pertaining to Lord Bacon or his system of philosophy. Bacterium, a microbe. Badger, to pester. Baffle, to foil or frustrate. Bailiff, an officer of court having custody of prisoners under arraignment. Baize, a single-colored napped woolen fabric used for table covers, curtains, etc. Bale, a large package prepared for transportation or storage. Baleful, malignant. Ballad, any popular narrative poem, often with epic subject and usually in lyric form. Balsam, a medical preparation, aromatic and oily, used for healing. Banal, commonplace. Barcarolle, a boat song of Venetian gondoliers. Barograph, an instrument that registers graphically and continuously the atmospheric pressure. Barometer, an instrument for indicating the atmospheric pressure per unit of surface. Barring, apart from. Baritone, having a register higher than bass and lower than tenor. Bask, to make warm by genial heat. Bass, low in tone or compass. Baste, to cover with melted fat, gravy, while cooking. Baton, an official staff borne either as a weapon or as an emblem of authority or privilege. Battalion, a body of infantry composed of 2 or more companies, forming a part of a regiment. Batten, a narrow strip of wood. Batter, a thick liquid mixture of 2 or more materials beaten together to be used in cookery. Bauble, a trinket. Bawl, to proclaim by outcry. Beatify, to make supremely happy. Beatitude, any state of great happiness. Beau, an escort or lover. Becalm, to make quiet. Beck, to give a signal to by nod or gesture. Bedaub, to smear over as with something oily or sticky. Bedeck, to cover with ornament. Bedlam, madhouse. Befog, to confuse. Befriend, to be a friend to, especially when in need. Beget, to produce by sexual generation. Begrudge, to envy one of the possession of. Belate, to delay past the proper hour. Belay, to make fast as a rope by winding round a cleat. Belie, to misrepresent. Believe, to accept as true on the testimony or authority of others. Belittle, to disparage. Belle, a woman who is a center of attraction because of her beauty, accomplishments, etc. Bellicose, warlike. Belligerent, manifesting a warlike spirit. Bemoan, to lament. Benediction, a solemn invocation of the divine blessing. Benefactor, a doer of kindly and charitable acts. Benefice, a church office endowed with funds or property for the maintenance of divine service. Beneficent, characterized by charity and kindness. Beneficial, helpful. Beneficiary, one who is lawfully entitled to the profits and proceeds of an estate or property. Benefit, helpful result. Benevolence, any act of kindness or well-doing. Benevolent, loving others and actively desirous of their well-being. Benign, good and kind of heart. Benignant, benevolent in feeling, character, or aspect. Benignity, kindness of feeling, disposition, or manner. Benison, blessing. Bequeath, to give by will. Bereave, to make desolate with loneliness and grief. Berth, a bunk or bed in a vessel, sleeping car, etc. Beseech, to implore. Beset, to attack on all sides. Besmear, to smear over as with an oily or sticky substance. Bestial, animal. Bestrew, to sprinkle or cover with things strewn. Bestride, to get or sit upon astride, as a horse. Bethink, to remind oneself. Betide, to happen to or befall. Betimes, in good season or time. Betroth, to engage to marry. Betrothal, engagement to marry. Bevel, any inclination of two surfaces other than 90 degrees. Bewilder, to confuse the perceptions or judgment of. Bibliomania, the passion for collecting books. Bibliography, a list of the words of an author or the literature bearing on a particular subject. Bibliophile, one who loves books. Bibulous, fond of drinking. Bide, to await. Biennial, a plant that produces leaves and roots the first year and flowers and fruit the second. Bier, a horizontal framework with two handles at each end for carrying a corpse to the grave. Bigamist, one who has two spouses at the same time. Bigamy, the crime of marrying another person while having a legal spouse living. Bight, a slightly receding bay between headlands formed by a long curve of a coastline. Bilateral, two-sided. Bilingual, speaking two languages. Biograph, a bibliographical sketch or notice. Biography, a written account of one's life, actions, and character. Biology, the science of life or living organisms. Biped, an animal having 2 feet. Birthright, a privilege or possession into which one is born. Bitterness, acridity as to the taste. Blasé, sated with pleasure. Blaspheme, to indulge in profane oaths. Blatant, noisily or offensively loud or clamorous. Blaze, a vivid glowing flame. Blazon, to make widely or generally known. Bleak, desolate. Blemish, a mark that mars beauty. Blithe, joyous. Blithesome, cheerful. Blockade, the shutting up of a town, a frontier, or a line of coast by hostile forces. Boatswain, a subordinate officer of a vessel who has general charge of the rigging, anchors, etc. Bodice, a woman's ornamental corset-shaped laced waist. Bodily, corporeal. Boisterous, unchecked merriment or animal spirits. Bole, the trunk or body of a tree. Bolero, a Spanish dance illustrative of the passion of love, accompanied by cast nets and singing. Boll, a round pod or seed capsule, as a flax or cotton boll. Bolster, to support, as something wrong. Bomb, a hollow projectile containing an explosive material. Bombard, to assail with any missile or with abusive speech. Bombardier, a person who has charge of mortars, bombs, and shells. Bombast, inflated or extravagant language, especially on unimportant subjects. Boorish, rude. Bore, to weary by tediousness or dullness. Borough, an incorporated village or town. Bosom, the breast or the upper front of the thorax of a human being, especially of a woman. Botanical, connected with the study or cultivation of plants. Botanize, to study plant life. Botany, the science that studies and treats plants. Bountiful, showing abundance. Bowdlerize, to expurgate in editing, a literary composition, by omitting words or passages. Bowler, in cricket, the player who delivers the ball. Boycott, to place the products or merchandise of under a ban. Bray, hillside. Braggart, a vain boaster. Brandish, to wave, shake, or flourish triumphantly or defiantly as a sword or spear. Bravado, an aggressive display of boldness. Bravo, well done. Bray, a loud, harsh sound, as the cry of an ass or the blast of a horn. Braze, to make of or ornament with brass. Brazier, an open pan or basin for holding live coals. Breach, the violation of official duty, lawful right, or a legal obligation. Breaker, one who trains horses, dogs, etc. Breech, the buttocks. Brethren, members of a brotherhood, guild, profession, association, or the like. Brevity, shortness of duration. Bric-a-brac, objects of curiosity or for decoration. Bridle, the head harness of a horse consisting of a headstall, a bit, and the reins. Brigade, a body of troops consisting of 2 or more regiments. Brigadier, general officer who commands a brigade, ranking between a colonel and a major general. Brigand, one who lives by robbery and plunder. Brimstone, sulfur. Brine, water saturated with salt. Bristle, one of the coarse, stiff hairs of swine, used in brush-making, etc. Britannia, the United Kingdom of Great Britain. Briticism, a word, idiom, or phrase characteristic of Great Britain or the British. Brittle, fragile. Broach, to mention for the first time. Broadcast, disseminated far and wide. Brogan, a coarse, heavy shoe. Brogue, any dialect pronunciation of English, especially that of the Irish people. Brokerage, the business of making sales and purchases for a commission, a broker. Bromine, a dark reddish-brown, non-metallic liquid element with a suffocating odor. Bronchitis, inflammation of the bronchial tubes. Bronchus, either of the 2 subdivisions of the trachea conveying air into the lungs. Brooch or brooch, an article of jewelry fastened by a hinged pin and hook on the underside. Brotherhood, spiritual or social fellowship or solidarity. Browbeat, to overwhelm or attempt to do so by stern, haughty, or rude address or manner. Brusque, somewhat rough or rude in manner or speech. Buffoon, a clown. Buffoonery, low drollery, coarse jokes, etc. Bulbous, of or pertaining to or like a bulb. Bullock, an ox. Bulrush, any one of various tall rush-like plants growing in damp ground or water. Bulwark, anything that gives security or defense. Bumper, a cup or glass filled to the brim, especially one to be drunk as a toast or health. Bumptious, full of offensive and aggressive self-conceit. Bungle, to execute clumsily. Buoyancy, power or tendency to float on or in a liquid or gas. Buoyant, having the power or tendency to float or keep afloat. Bureau, a chest of drawers for clothing, etc. Bureaucracy, government by departments of men transacting particular branches of public business. Burgess, in colonial times a member of the lower house of the legislature of Maryland or Virginia. Burgher, an inhabitant, citizen, or freeman of a borough, burg, or corporate town. Burnish, to make brilliant or shining. Bursar, a treasurer. Bustle, to hurry. Butt, to strike with, or as with the head or horns. Butte, a conspicuous hill, low mountain, or natural turret, generally isolated. Buttress, any support or prop. Bylaw, a rule or law adopted by an association, a corporation, or the like. Cabal, a number of persons